crucial for the Indiana franchise, which has never made it to the NBA Finals. In fact, it was a year ago tomorrow that the Pacers season came to a disappointing end when they played the Bulls in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Behind Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, the Bulls beat the Pacers by 5 on their way to their 6th NBA title. For Indiana, the 3rd time in 5 years that they lost the 7th game of the conference finals. And that loss served as a motivational factor for Larry Bird and his team. They were one of the few teams that worked together as a group during the lockout, which is paying dividends now for this team, unbeaten in the playoffs.
Tom, Larry Bird is one of those driven personalities. Reggie Miller, though, has been the Knicks assassin. As his top performances against the Knicks, 10 of those, 7 overall have been in the playoffs. So he brings his A game to these events.
And he has a half dozen points to start this game. 2 for 2 from the floor, 2 for 2 from the line. Johnson, open 3. Rebounded by Dale Davis. Jackson to Mullen. New York's back on defense.
Pacers have doubled up the Knicks on the board 6-3. That'll be a crucial story throughout the series.
Davis with a screen for Miller. Three-pointer, his first miss of the game. Houston and Miller over his back for the foul.
That's the 2nd foul against Reggie Miller. He got 1 at the offensive end, gets this one right now. That means Jalen Rose is going to come in the ball game. So the sizzling Miller sits down and Jalen Rose will come in the game.
When you're as hot as Reggie is, you got to forget about trying to come up with special plays defensively. Just let it go and wait till the ball comes right to you. The push in the back, an easy play to call.
Are you saying don't rebound?
Don't try for plays that you have no chance of.
Houston made the ball fake and then thought he was bumped as he shot.
He grabbed his
jersey. He did Jalen Rose.
It's a very patient refereeing crew here this afternoon.
Oh, you watch Jalen Rose come down, grab the jersey. He's thinking and 1, and he gets nothing but a missed shot.
Smith.
Larry
Rebounded by LJ.
Loves to get Rick Smits off early. He has not really had an uncontested attempt yet as the Knicks are rotating beautifully.
Johnson for 3. Larry Johnson nails the three-pointer. He has 5 in the early going, and New York is up by the margin of that shot.
You can see that the Knicks believe that they can play with this Indiana Pacer team just by their defensive energy and the fact that all of the shots are coming over the top of the defense.
The rebound comes right to Dale Davis. And he hits. Dale Davis with 4 points in the early going, and Indiana pulls within 1.
One of the identities for the Pacers is to milk Smits early, because that gets Dale Davis into a great offensive rebounding rhythm.
Ewing had a swipe by Jackson. Smits to Jackson. And 1.
The defense of Mark Jackson coming down. Ewing, a reluctant passer in that driving situation. Up the court in transition. And then the quick give and go. The type of basketball that will break down a solid dug-in defense for the New York Knicks.
Dick Carter is the defensive specialist, given credit for defensive excellence all around the league, most recently with Indiana and also in the past with the New York Knicks. Miami Heat. Dick Carter's influence on defense is well known throughout the NBA and much in evidence here today.
He also coached at the University of Oregon, where Steve went to school, so I don't know what happened to Steve's defensive team.
He was on sabbatical, I think.
Steve, you missed that day when
I was ahead of Dick Carter, thank goodness.
You're older than Dick Carter? Oh,
no,
my goodness.
I'm ahead of him in his tenure at Oregon.
I think you've got a snapper rattled.
The Kamikaze Kid days at Oregon. How fondly we remember those.
2 straight turnovers by the Knicks, and Indiana looks to add to its 2-point lead. Charlie Ward fouling Mark Jackson on the Jackson post-up. That's one thing Jeff Van Gundy said they could not live with.
It was interesting to hear Van Gundy talk about how they're going to defend Mark Jackson. He was more concerned with Mark Jackson passing it out for three-point shooters than with Jackson actually going to the hoop. Charlie Ward to the bench as Childs checks in.
Well, whenever you have a guy like Mark Jackson who can impact the game by going down on the low post, you got to make a decision. I think they're better off by trying to make Jackson a scorer and a big scorer and keeping everybody else out of the game. Steals, Sprewell.
Latrell Sprewell just into the game, into the passing lane to pick it off and put it home. Immediate dividend by Latrell Sprewell, who has been New York's spark in this renaissance and is their leading scorer in the playoffs.
Well, the thing about Sprewell, he's a freelance player, and even though Van Gundy doesn't like him to go for steals, he's the kind of player, if he thinks he can make a play, he'll take a chance.
Jalen has to answer right back and attack Sprewell.
Two young men who grew up in the Detroit area, matched up, although they didn't play during their high school or college careers. Houston for three.
This is a great start for Sprewell. When he comes out and he makes a point of making those big plays. The first time he's on the floor, he's done it with a steal and now the penetration and dish.
He told us sometimes he gambles a little too much for Jeff Van Gundy, but he's just trying to make things happen. Lob to Smith, help from Ewing. 6 to shoot. Jackson takes Childs inside and is fouled.
What Sprewell can do is cover ground very quickly, and you see that ball just lay out there, and once he steps into the passing lane, he's thinking one thing, get to the rim, and you notice the long strides and the ability to change hands, his first score of the afternoon.
Steve, one thing we're seeing, though, with the Knicks early on is what we saw at the end of that Miami series, that great rotating defense that is not letting anybody get set up. Chris Mullen has not had a good look yet. Jalen Rose looks a little confused offensively.
Log on to MSNBCSports.com for a comprehensive playoff section entitled NBA Showtime Online. Bill Walton previews every playoff game, answers your email. Isaiah Thomas analyzes the teams remaining. MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports.
Well, I guess they adjusted their special belts because Bill is starting to move back toward the Knicks now.
I haven't noticed the belts yet.
Mark Jackson towing the line.
He missed the first.
And the second as well.
Pacers are not sharp offensively, yet they only trail by 3.
So the #1 free throw shooting team in the league gets a blank from Jackson at the line. Houston forced it. Thomas fighting for the rebound is fouled. We've got a timeout with 2:58 left in quarter #1 with the Knicks leading 16-13. The NBA on NBC.